Today we are going into our push workout. Now we're hitting quite a lot of muscle groups here as usual, but the things that should change every week, not just the exercises or anything like that, is your intent. I want you to push yourself that much more. The bigger the sacrifice you see today, the more success that you are going to see and feel in your physique, and that will transcend into other areas of your life. So we have a push day today, shoulders being one of those pushing muscle groups. Now we have the exercise, the reps, the sets, the order of the exercise specifically for a reason. So make sure that you follow this program exactly as I've laid out. Now we're beginning with shoulders, the outer head of the delt. And we're gonna do that with side lateral dumbbell raises with a 2-second negative. These reps are gonna be between 15 and 20 reps to absolute failure. And you've got 4 sets, okay? So keep it intense. Rest for about a minute between each one of these sets and then go again. Elbows, wrists, shoulders, all in one line. Make sure that you keep it aligned as you come up. So just come up to shoulder height with your hands and then back down. No swinging from the upper body, please. Keep it tight, neck aligned, traps down, neck soft. Breathe out and then breathe in. I want a 2-second negative. When performing the side lateral dumbbell raises, you're going to be targeting the lateral head of your delt muscles. To keep the constant tension applied upon the lateral head of the delt muscles, I want you to make sure that the dumbbells do not touch your side. When performing the side lateral dumbbell raises, as you raise out to the sides, I don't want you to swing from the lower body at all. There shouldn't be any body momentum. Just as you come down to your sides, about 3 or 4 inches before touching, I want you to go back up so you keep the constant tension added to your delt muscles. When your wrist and elbow is parallel to your delts, that's when you pause just for a split second. I want you to come down under control, and about 3 or 4 inches before the dumbbell touches your thigh, I want you to go back up to keep the constant tension applied to your delts. Breathing is very, very important during your workouts. Very often you see people turn red or purple. This is not good. Keep your core tight, but squeeze and breathe at the same time to ensure that you perform at your absolute best. When you're performing the concentric part of the movement or the positive part, or when you're actually pushing, that's when you breathe out. Remember, if you have to scream to push that exercise because it's so hard, you have to exhale. Now we're moving on to the front head of the delts with front raises. Now you can perform both arms at the same time, but if you do fatigue and can't do any more before the required amount of reps of 15 to 20, you can alternate one at a time. Just make sure that you come up to eye line. So palms facing towards your body. You're gonna come up together and then slowly control that negative for 2 seconds. Breathe out on the way up. No swinging from the upper body. And if you can't do any more before your required amount of reps, we can now alternate. But make sure that dumbbell comes down to your body before you come up with the alternating side. Now you're going to target one head of your delts at a time, specifically the anterior head of your delts when you're performing this movement in an alternating fashion. You're going to lift up with one arm in front of your head just as your dumbbell gets above eye line, then you return down to that starting position. I want you to pause at the top for a second and then come back down. When you come back down with that arm, it now disengages and relaxes while you work your alternating arm. you're going to target the anterior head of your delts throughout this movement. Because this is an alternating dumbbell raise, you will disengage one muscle group while you engage the opposing front delt. Remember, it's very important for you to breathe during your workouts. You need to oxygenate your brain so you stay focused and you get plenty of oxygen-rich blood throughout your muscles so you can perform at your best. Now remember, to focus on your performance, you have to dictate it by your recovery. So make sure that you're getting your sleep, that you're hydrating, that you're managing stress so you can perform at your best. next exercise is going to target both your rear head of your delts and your traps, and the other heads of your delts as an assisting muscle group. So you'll need a resistance band for this. You're going to stand on this resistance band. You're going to hold onto it probably around the knee area, dependent on how tough your resistance band is. And then you're going to go up with your elbows pointing up, and then back down to the starting position. That's 1 rep. Up and then down for a 3-second negative on this movement. I want you to control it and fight the resistance of the band on that negative. Elbows must be high on this movement and much higher than your hands. When you're holding onto the resistance band at the bottom of this movement, you should be stepped about shoulder width apart over the resistance band with your feet. There should be tension applied to the resistance band in this beginning phase. As you're coming up, you're going to be targeting your rear head of your delts, the lateral head of your delts, the anterior head of your delts, and your trapezius muscles. When you come up to the top portion of this position, I want you to pause for a second. But then when you're going back down to your starting position, I don't want you to pause with your arms out straight. There will be tension in the bands, and this is what's going to cause tension on your muscles. Okay, we've got some great momentum going on now. Remember why you started this. Who are you trying to prove wrong? Is it yourself? Is it other people that doubt you? You can put their doubts to the curb now as you continue to push yourself towards that end goal and walk out a success. Now we're done with our delts, we're going to move on to our pecs, okay? And we're going to start off with a wide grip push-up. The reason why we go wide is because we don't want to activate the triceps when we're performing this exercise. We'll change the positioning of this push-up when we want to target triceps. But today, let's isolate the mid-fibers of our chest. So, to get yourself into position, I want you to have about 2 hand spaces further than shoulder space, okay? You're gonna have your upper body aligned straight, lower body straight. You're gonna come down, elbows flared out and back up. Down until your chest almost touches the floor and back up with your chest stuck out. You're going to be targeting your pec muscles as your primary mover throughout this exercise. And to keep constant tension applied upon your pecs, I want you to squeeze at the top with your arms just slightly bent, don't lock out, with your shoulders retracted. And then as you come down just about an inch before you touch the floor, I want you to go back up to have the tension applied upon your pecs throughout the entirety of this exercise. As you push up, I want you to have alignment within your back, your glutes, and your hamstrings, so they should be parallel to the floor. Now, as we're getting into the momentum of this workout, we need to still focus on our performance. Are you doing everything that you can to recover in order to dictate that you perform at your peak? So now we've targeted the mid portion of our pecs. Now it's time to hit the upper portion with a decline push-up. So you'll need to have your feet elevated on a step, on a couch, on a chair. I'm going to demonstrate with a chair to target the area right underneath your clavicles, which is usually a weaker area for most people. So, feet are elevated, same width as prior with your hands. You're going to come down slowly under control and then back up until you reach absolute failure within the rep range required. Back aligned, come down nice and slowly, under control, and back up. When you're performing the decline push-up, your upper body is going to be towards the floor into a push-up position. Your back, your glutes, and your hamstrings should all be one line where you're almost parallel to the floor except for your legs being elevated. You're going to be targeting your upper pecs throughout the entirety of this movement, but you're also going to target your mid and lower fibers as well. To keep the constant tension throughout the entirety of this exercise, I want you to lock out at the top and squeeze your pecs with your shoulders retracted back. And you're going to go slowly down towards the bottom, and just as you're about an inch from the floor, I want you to go back up. Completing those last sets as hard as you possibly could is where all the change happens. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. So make sure that you push yourself harder this week on those last sets than you did last week. walking dumbbell lunges is what we're moving on to now. This will target your quads, the front of your legs, your hamstrings, the back of your legs, your glutes, which is your butt, and the lower portion of your legs, being the calves. So by doing this movement, you're going to walk, taking a large enough step out to target all these muscle groups, providing that you have plenty of mobility in your ankles. So that's why I do suggest that you stretch every day. If you don't have the mobility, you'll only be able to take a smaller step, and that will just target more so your quads. So grab your dumbbells. You're going to take a step forward, so both your front leg and rear leg reaches a right angle, and you continue until you reach the required amount of repetitions on both of your legs. So in this case, it's 20 to 25. So this is how you'd count. It would be 1 and 1, 2 and 2, with upper body completely aligned, no leaning forward, no swinging the dumbbells. When beginning the dumbbell walking lunges, your chest should be high, your back should be straight, and shoulders slightly back. When you step forward, I don't want you to lean forward, and when you step up, I don't want you to lean forward. Your back should be straight throughout the entirety of this exercise. Your working muscle, the one that you're bending, will target your glutes and your hamstrings as your primary movers. And you're also going to work your quads throughout the entirety of this exercise as well. When performing this exercise, I don't want you to allow your knee to drop to the floor, and I don't want you to lock your knees out straight at the top either. This will allow you to have constant tension applied to these muscle groups. Remember why you begun this program. What was your commitment? Make sure you journal it every single day and reaffirm those goals, because it's these goals every single day that will take you to that end picture and that physique that you visualize. You can do this, guys. Don't listen to other naysayers. Don't listen to other people that are pulling you down. This is your time to change and transform forever. Now, it's very important that you work on your mobility, especially in your ankles, or you will find yourself leaning forward quite a lot when you're performing a deep squat. To make it a little bit easier, sometimes what you can do is elevate your heels. So I actually have a block here to elevate my heels off the ground about an inch or so. And that will allow me to go down a little bit deeper without putting any stress on my back because I have tight Achilles tendons. So you'll need a couple of dumbbells here. I'm going to demonstrate by putting my heels on a board here about shoulder width distance apart, toes slightly pointing out. Then I'm going to squat down till my hamstrings about parallel to the floor and then back up. Slowly down and back up. You've got a 3-second negative here and you need to reach failure between 15 and 20 repetitions. Often people ask me how much weight that they should be utilizing when they're performing an exercise. Well, simple. If I give you a rep range of say 15 to 20, but you end up performing 25 to 30, then the weight is too light for you. So you'd need to go heavier. And consequently, if you only were able to perform say 5 or 10 repetitions, then the weight is too heavy and you should go a little bit lighter on your next set. Now, I always say you need to reach absolute failure in order to succeed in the gym. So when I say failure, when you're performing repetitions, you should reach absolute failure, meaning that you could not perform one more repetition even if your life depended on it. That is failure, and it's the only place in the world that we have to reach failure in order to succeed outside of the weights area. Okay, you committed to this, so you better follow through. Don't get taken off your goal. Don't be meandering or navigating a way out of it. You started with this commitment. Are you somebody that follows through or comes up with an excuse? The choice is yours. So now you have an understanding of where your limits lie. So let's push past them. Push past any limits that you've put in front of you. There are no limits, only your limitations. So let's get to that last set and push it harder than we did the ones before. Now, the squats that you performed earlier are perfect for quad domination. Now we really want to dominate our glutes and our hamstrings, so we're going to do box step-ups. You will need a couple of dumbbells for this exercise to reach absolute failure as well. We have a 3-second negative again, so make sure you really focus on the control on the downward portion of this movement. So hold your dumbbells. You're going to stand close to like a bench, a step, or in this case, a chair. You're going to stand up and then slowly down with a negative under control before moving on to the opposite side. Now, the reps you have here are 15 to 20. You're going to count on both sides to count that as one repetition. So it'd be 1, slowly down, and then 1 on the other side. That would count as 1 repetition. Make sure that you keep your upper body straight and aligned. No leaning forward, especially when you start fatiguing. The muscle groups that you are going to target primarily are going to be your glutes and your hamstrings, and the secondary movers are going to be your quads and your calves. I don't want you to lean forward at your upper body or from the waist when performing this movement, particularly when you're standing on the bench or the box in front of you. When performing this movement, I want you to keep constant tension applied upon the working muscle by locking out at the top, squeezing for a second, and then coming down slowly. Of course, that muscle is going to relax as you perform the same movement with the alternated leg.
Now you've done with legs, we're going to move on to our upper body, specifically our triceps. We're going to begin with tricep kickbacks with 2 dumbbells at the same time. So you're going to bend over at the waist, bend your legs slightly. Those elbows are going to be hinged up and they're going to stay there. So when you extend out, I don't want you swinging from here. I need you to stop so your arms or your forearms are vertical. So you'll hold on to a couple of dumbbells, hinge your elbows up and extend back and then slowly down. Up and down, keeping your back straight throughout the entire motion and work that negative.
When performing the dumbbell tricep kickback, I need you to bend over at the upper body until your upper body is parallel with the floor. You're going to be slightly bent with your legs. So we are going to be targeting all heads of the triceps with this movement.
when targeting the tricep in this bent over position, I want you to make sure that your upper arm is parallel to the floor. So your elbow is up high. You're gonna squeeze back and then slowly come back down to that starting position. But when you feel the tricep disengaged, that is time for you to go back up so you keep constant tension applied to the tricep muscle. And then of course, once you've completed one side, you now allow that worked muscle group to relax as you target the opposing tricep. Okay guys, let's focus on your commitment, not just by showing up to the gym, but committing yourself while you're there without distraction to finish strong. So we did the kickbacks and we did 3 sets here of about 20 to 25 repetitions. Now we're moving on to the skull crushers. 3 sets of 20 to 25 repetitions, lying down on the floor or on a bench. I'm going to demonstrate on the floor here. Bring the dumbbells up, overhead, elbows in tight. You've done this before. Control it on the negative and push up over your face at the top or either side of your head, but it needs to be over eye line. Slowly on the negative, push up and make sure the hinge of your elbows just stay in one spot. Your knees should be slightly bent with the bottoms of your feet firmly planted on the floor. You are going to target all heads of the tricep with this movement. Be a success within yourself by pushing yourself every single day, marking off every single meal and every single workout to absolute failure in order to achieve your goals. You're gonna keep your elbows in tight, and just as the dumbbells are about to touch the floor, you are gonna go back up to that starting position and get a full contraction with your arms out locked. But when your arms are locked, I don't want the dumbbells above your chest. They need to be above your head so we can keep constant tension applied to the triceps throughout the entirety of this exercise.
The next exercise is going to be the overhead banded extension, okay? So, the same rep range applies for all of our tricep movements today. It's going to be between 20 and 25 repetitions for 3 sets. So you're going to step through the band, and lift it up, overhead, palms facing up, and hands touching each other, elbows in tight, and then up. Slowly down, elbows in, and then up, and pause for a second at the top to get a full contraction. Once your hands have come behind the head, that means you've stretched far enough, and it's time to go back up. Squeeze at the top, and work the negative.
When performing this movement, I want you to keep constant tension applied to your triceps by squeezing at the top of the movement and locking out there for a second. Then you're going to slowly come back until your hands disappear behind your head for a full stretch, and then back up to squeeze at the top for 1 second. The muscle groups that you're going to be working are your triceps, specifically the long head of your triceps. Make sure that you're breathing through every single one of your repetitions. Remember, when you're pushing out, that's when I want you to breathe out. So just think that the exercise is so hard that you have to scream. In order to scream, you have to exhale. Come on, don't give up now. I know it's tough. It's not meant to be easy. It's supposed to be difficult. If it was easy, everybody would have the physique that they've always wanted. But the people who have the body they've always wanted have not given up, and neither are you.
Next exercise, back to the lower body, this time the calves, and we're performing standing dumbbell calf press, okay? We're gonna do it both together. You can have your feet flat on the floor, or if you do have a step at home, you can hang your heels at the bottom to get a full range of motion. But for this occasion, I'm gonna do it straight on the floor, holding 2 dumbbells, back straight. I'm gonna come up and then down with my feet neutral, pointing forward, about shoulder width distance apart. Go right onto the toes, and then slowly down, controlling that negative.
Okay, we are getting towards the end here now. We're getting to the last final stretch. You're gonna be a little bit lethargic, you're gonna be tired, you may have a little bit of doubt, but this is where your recovery techniques really come into play, so you can perform and get over to that last stretch at your absolute best. this is your commitment to yourself, nobody else, that you are finally gonna finish something that you've begun. So let's hit it. Okay, you've got this. Remember, you have to control your environment. Don't allow yourself to get controlled by it. There are weekends that you're not going to feel good about doing this. There are going to be mornings that are going to be dark and you'll want to sleep in. You'll look at your meal and you'll want to have the cheat meal that your friend is having next to you. This is where you step up and take control instead of being controlled by your environment. This is where you face your fears. This is where you turn your weaknesses into weapons. So let's do this. as I've said before, we're getting to the last stretch. So what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna back off, or are you gonna push those last sets stronger than you did in the beginning? And you've got to decide, are you gonna continue to push yourself and come up with commitments, or are you gonna come up with excuses? Only winners come up with commitments, and only winners finish that last set stronger than their first.
Now, as I always say, you should be adequately hydrated. A lot of people focus on their food, they focus on their sleep, but they don't focus on hydration. They think that just drinking coffee or having tea is hydrating, but chances are there's a lot of caffeine in these products that can have a diuretic effect. So you're not really hydrating. So aim to drink about a gallon of water a day. Maybe a little bit more if you live in a humid climate or if you're sweating a lot. So we'll see you tomorrow for your pull workout, so drink up.